Hi everyone, and welcome to this tutorial on how to add materials to your 3D model for a GLB export in Blender. In this video, we'll be going over the process of setting up Blender, assigning materials, and creating advanced materials with textures, roughness, and metallic, bumps, and shadows. Let's get started. The first step is to set up Blender. To do this, go to Edit and Preferences, Add-ons, and enable the GLTF 2.0 format add-on. This is necessary for exporting your model as a GLB file. Optionally, you can also enable the Node Wrangler add-on for a quality-of-life feature in the material editor. This will help you create advanced materials more easily. Next, go to Edit and Preferences, System, and select CUDA as your Cycles render device. Make sure to check your graphics card to ensure it is compatible with CUDA. The next step is to assign materials to your 3D model. First, select the object you want to change the materials for. Then select Viewport Shading in the top right of the viewport to see the materials on your model. In the bottom right corner, click the red sphere icon. This is the Material tab. From here, you can do basic material editing by selecting the desired material from the list and editing the base color, metallic, and roughness values. You can also rename your materials to keep things from getting messy by double-clicking the material's name. To create and assign new materials, you first add a material slot by clicking the plus icon. You can then reuse a material or create a new one by pressing the new plus icon below. You then have to assign the material by pressing Tab to get into Edit mode, selecting the desired vertices, and pressing the Assign button in the Material tab. Finally, go to the Shading tab to look at the materials you've created. Make sure none of them use the Color Attribute node, as it will cause problems when exporting. Now, let's move on to creating more advanced materials. To import images as textures, drag and drop them from your computer's file explorer onto Blender's workspace. Then, connect the color output of the node to the base color input of the principled BSDF node. If you don't have a texture, you can find some royalty-free materials online on sites such as ambientccg.com. Your texture still won't appear properly, as you still need to set up your UVs. The simplest and quickest way of doing so is by using Smart UV Project. To do so, click on the object you want your texture on, press Tab to get into Edit mode, press A to select all vertices, press U and select Smart UV Project. You can set Island Margin to 0.002 for better results. Your texture should now be displayed properly. If you want to modify its scale, press Shift plus A and search for the Mapping node and for the Texture Coordinates node. You can then connect UV with Vector, and then Vector with Vector. You can then change the scale of your texture in the Mapping node. You can also select the principled BSDF node and press Ctrl plus T to make necessary nodes appear if you have enabled the Node Wrangler add-on. The principled BSDF node in the Shading tab also allows you to control how reflective and metallic your material is. For metallic materials, set the metallic to either 0 or 1, as a material is either metallic or not. For roughness, you can set it to anything between 0 and 1, 0 being extremely reflective and 1 being extremely matte. Additionally, you can use textures for roughness and metallic, just as you could with base color. But they have to be black and white, where the black parts of the texture will give a value of 0 and the white parts a value of 1. Remember to set the color space of the image texture node to non-color for the best results. Now, in order to add bumps and details to your material, you'll need to use an image called a normal map. To get and use one, you can follow the same workflow as for regular textures. Instead of plugging the node in the base color, you'll need to press Shift+A and search for normal map. After that, you can plug your texture's color node into the color input of the normal map node, before plugging the normal output to the principled BSDF's normal input. Just make sure that you set the color space of the image texture node to non-color for the best results. Now, let's add shadows. To create a shadow texture, head to the Shading tab, press Shift+A and search for Image Texture. Press New, name your new image, and press OK. Next, copy the Image Texture node with your new texture to all the materials you want shadows on. Then, in the viewport above, select all of the objects that use the concerned materials by pressing Shift while clicking. Press Tab to get in Edit mode, A to select all vertices, U to open the unwrapping menu and select Smart UV Project. You can set Island Margin to 0.002 for better results. Now click the camera icon at the bottom right of the screen. Beside Render Engine, select Cycles and beside Device, set GPU Compute. Then scroll down and expand the Bake menu. Set Ambient Occlusion as your bake type and under Margins, set the size to 2px. Before clicking Bake, you need to make sure that within every concerned materials, only your texture is selected, and that every concerned object is selected in the viewport. Click Bake. The process will take a moment. Once it is done, you'll view your black and white texture in the bottom left of the screen. Within that window, press the 3 bars icon, and then select Image, Save As to save your texture. You can view your shadows by plugging the color output of your texture in the surface input of the Material Output node. If you are satisfied with your shadows, press Shift+A, select Output GLTF Material Output, and link your texture's color output to the node's occlusion input. That's it for adding shadows to your 3D model in Blender. So you are now done with adding textures to your GLB-friendly 3D model. Thanks for watching, and let us know in the comments if you have any question.